Welcome to another channel of I Am Tired of Church. Okay, in the book of Timothy, 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, it says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil. While some have coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows." I want to take that a little bit and talk about how many people have taken spiritual matters, not money. Okay, we know money causes problems, but I'm going to use that in a spiritual sense. Many have erred and have pierced themselves by spiritually trying to work up their faith, trying to either pray more, be more like somebody, seeking conferences and going to lessons and going to classes and listening to preachers and reading books. You've pierced yourself. I'm not saying those things are bad, okay? I'm not. What I'm saying is you need to examine your heart when you're doing those things. You do those things because you have a love to learn who God is. You cannot get closer to God with them. You know, if you understand God's love, then you know you can't get no closer than where you're at right now. Okay, so many people decide they want to have a relationship with God like someone else has. So they see a brother, a sister in the faith, and they look at them as like, wow, they're really on fire. What do they do? You know, I want to be like that too. But what you don't know is that that person might be hurting inside, might have not love for other people. They're putting on a good show. Not all of them, but many are. So you're piercing yourself with too many sorrows, spiritual sorrows. Forget the money. Yeah, that's going to happen. If you have a lot of money, you might have some more money, more problems, as they say. But when you are spiritually piercing yourself, you're trying so hard. So when you commit a sin, you get all guilty. So you're trying to repent or repay that penance. So you commit a sin on Saturday or on Friday and you feel bad. So on Sunday, you really go to the front so they can pray for you. And now you're forgiven. You feel forgiven. Now you're okay. Now you can, it's like you refueled. And then you might go on Wednesday and say, oh, I needed that midweek. I just felt so, you're dealing with feelings too many times. Your feelings are going to lead you to be pierced with too many sorrows. You can't feel closer to God. He's there. You need to know that. You can't feel these things expecting that they're real. Okay, you can't say, I feel the presence of the Lord. The presence of the Lord has always been there. You're depending on your emotion, and you need to be very careful when you decide to do that, because you're going to pierce yourself with many sorrows, because you're going to crave like a junkie that hit you when you first came to Christ and you were on fire and you want that again, and you feel like you have to do all these things to get it, and you somehow it's out of reach. I just can't get it. Where is it? I just don't feel that anymore, because you're depending on your feelings. I once heard a pastor say, it's an enigma how a person comes to Christ, goes through a class and gets on fire, and then a few weeks, months, maybe years later falls away. It's not an enigma. It's because they're depending on their feelings instead of biblical truth that God is there by your side. That's it. And you can tell by people when they go to conferences, they'll come back and they'll give it a testimony. They might say, man, I just feel so good. I wish I could keep this feeling. I look at them and I say, you're not. Because we're not working on feelings. It's assurance that what Christ did was enough. You're going to pierce yourself with many sorrows when you're trying to build up your faith through works. You might not look at them as works, but there's things you're doing. And here's the one. If, for example, like I said, some people might commit a sin on Friday or Saturday, something big, you know. Come Sunday, they feel all guilty. Pastor, pray for me. Or when they come and they make an altar call, come to the front so you can re-give your life to God. Your life is God's. You can't re-give it. It's like, oh, God's doesn't have bipolar disorder where you're his son and then now you're not his son, not his son again. No more. You're just too bad. No, now you're good. We keep thinking that God is a superhuman. God is not a superhuman. God is God, and we're not. So don't depend on your emotions to determine your stance in God's presence. You are his child. And there's nothing you can do to draw closer to him. So don't go trying to pierce yourself becoming holier or try to be like someone else because they look like they got it all put together. But most of the time they don't. Because they're looking at someone else saying, I wish I could be like that. It's your relationship with God. You need to walk in it. Live by grace, not by fear. By love, not by shame. And by peace, okay? Not by guilt. Your relationship with God is yours. Don't try to build it up. It's yours. You just live it. Thanks for watching. I Am Tired of Church channel. God bless you all. And don't ever forget that what Jesus Christ did was enough.